Strong.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize for the slight technical difficulties. I was trying to do the stream with my tablet. I had to switch to my phone. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. And I see here that Molalo Vanguard has entered the chat. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. Now, I would like to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I also want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode is currently enabled. What does that mean? That means that in order for you to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to be a subscriber to the channel. So, first of all, I just want to start out by giving a huge shout out, as always, to everyone who have subscribed to the channel, whether it be from the beginning or just recently as today. Thank you very much for all the love and support all of you have given me. I also want to give a huge shout out, excuse me. Thank you very much all the love and support. Okay. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. And I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. Okay. So, as you can see by the thumbnail, um, the topic for tonight is, can we agree to disagree? So I'm going to get into the topic momentarily. But before I do, I'm going to give another edition of In My Words. Okay. Now, some of you may have noticed my community tab this afternoon, earlier, where I posted a picture of my brother who passed away 8 years ago today. His name was Albert Negron. In fact, I'll also show you a picture of him. Okay, there he is. My brother had a troubled life. I mean, he made his mistakes as he was younger. Unfortunately, he turned his life around. He became a born again Christian, and he was an active member of Victory Outreach, which is a non-denominational Christian church here in New York. My brother was a chaplain and also given the opportunity to preach the gospel. Okay. So, unfortunately, my brother passed away due to kidney failure. He was only 56 years old when my brother passed away and went home to be with the Lord. So I just want to give a huge shout out to my brother Albert. Albert, it seemed like yesterday that God took you home. We understand why it had to be this way. It's unfortunate, but you are right now enjoying heaven with the rest of the siblings that have left us to be with the Lord, also our parents and our grandnephew. Okay, so thank you very much, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Now, next week, I'm going to be celebrating 2 years as a YouTube creator. So I'm going to try to do some streams, which I believe is going to be educational and will share some knowledge with the audience. Okay, those of you who have been following me know that I've tried to engage in interesting topics. Some of them can be a little controversial. Others, it's just information where we all need. So, with that being said, one part I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing in one of my streams my journey as a YouTube creator. So, what I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good meaning all the great people that I have the opportunity to interact with. The bad, well, those individuals which, for whatever reasons, has issues with me. Okay? I understand for some people, I'm not their cup of tea. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I can live with that. as long as I strive to be the best version of me. And the ugly, unfortunately, when it comes to these YouTube streets, we do experience a great deal of ugly behavior. And that could be found in any sector, whether it be the Latino sector, whether it be the African American sector, whether it be um, the biracial sector, or any other sector. I've always said this before, and I'll keep on saying, there is good and bad in every community. So, so with that being said, what we're going to do is, just give me a moment. We're going to discuss the main topic. Okay. So the topic for tonight is, can we agree to disagree? Now, some people were wondering, why are you even discussing it? Because unfortunately, for some people, that's going to be a lost art. Okay. And the reason why I say that is that not just in social media, like YouTube and TikTok, but we also see it in our personal lives, where we have individuals that, for whatever reason, they will respond to a point of view with emotionalism, with yelling, screaming, acting foolish. Okay, we have seen this on multiple occasions. Now, I'm just going to read to you what's the definition of agree to disagree, which was found in Wikipedia. Okay, which is the following. To agree to disagree is to resolve a conflict, usually a debate or quarrel, by having all parties tolerate or not accepting the other positions. It generally occurs when all sides recognize further conflict would be unnecessary, ineffective, or otherwise undesirable. And I see here we have a content. I enjoy your final discussion with your fellow Latino guests. I'm interested in learning more about Latin American culture. You are a good source. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Malala Vanguard. But in all fairness, I am what's called a mainline Latino, meaning I'm part of what's called the Latina diaspora. That's referring to Latinos who are first generation and forward. Okay. So, so my experiences as far as the Latino culture is going to be based on what's based in the United States. Now, if you wish to enjoy, find out information, say the culture, say in the island of Puerto Rico, I would suggest that you would speak to either Denise Gonzalez or the Intro Boricua. And I see we have Gigi in the chat. Good evening, Gigi. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. So, and there are other Latinos on these YouTube streets where you can get a quality resource education. My experiences is basically more or less been to the mainline. However, I have traveled to 6 countries, most of them Latin America, so I do have a little bit of knowledge. So I'm just keeping it a buck. Now back to be able to agree when we disagree. What you're doing is this. it's not that you are agreeing with the other person is saying. What you're doing is you're showing proper respect for what the other's point of view is. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a perfect example of a person that we have disagreed with on multiple occasions. And that's mainly, I'm referring to my dear friend, Denise Gonzalez. In fact, I met her during a disagreement on another stream, of which she was speaking about femicide in Latin America. And Denise was sharing a point where I respectfully disagreed. And I stated such. And I stated the reason why I disagree. I did not act with emotion. I did not lash out. I did not yell. I did not scream. I did not act like a child. Okay. What I did was I just simply, calmly, and rationally, with respect, expressed that I had a different point of view. And that was not the first time. In fact, almost 2 years ago, I did a call-in show regarding COVID-19, of which, okay, well, you know what? She's very knowledgeable regarding what's going on in Puerto Rico. I mean, she's more equipped to answer those questions regarding the island than I am. But so she has stated that the COVID-19 pandemic was over. At the time, I respectfully disagreed. So what we did was we had a discussion on my channel. What Denise did was she supplied her data and her facts. I too supply my data and my facts. Okay. We both got information from the Center of Disease Control. And we discuss and amplify our views. Later on, I came to the conclusion that Denise was right and I was wrong. Okay. I have the maturity to admit I was wrong. I have the maturity to disagree with someone without being emotional. Okay. Now, Denise had stated on her channel during the topic "Did Piccolo know best?" where she indicated the belief that the COVID-19 pandemic was over and that we needed to get rid of the restrictions. I simply stated with respect that I disagree. And what I did was I simply stated statistical data, the data regarding the number of fatalities of COVID-19 in the United States. I also stated the number of fatalities in the states of California and New York, which is our respective states. I also indicated the number of people being infected, and also that, that there was a huge number of patients in the ICU. Okay. I did not argue. I did not yell. I did not scream. I just simply expressed an opposing viewpoint. And this is not the first time that we have disagreed. We also disagree when it comes to religious viewpoints. Good evening, Ramon. Thank you very much for stopping by. By the way, if anyone wishes to join the panel, the link is in the chat, just to let everybody know. Okay. Now, another example of this is when it comes to religious beliefs. Denise is an atheist. Some of you know I'm a Christian. Okay. I don't share the religious beliefs that Denise has. However, I respect her beliefs. I respect the fact that she has the right to practice her beliefs or whatever, or practice no beliefs at all. Denise, in turn, respects the fact that I am a Christian. Okay. And she also respects the fact that while she disagreed with me regarding the existence of God, that she's recognized and accepts the fact that Christianity, to me, it's something that's very important. Also, just for your information, just about everybody that appeared on my panel, I have had disagreements with. Okay, for the most part, we've been respectable. Okay, I have disagreed with. I have disagreed with everyone that's my. People like Dennis Gonzalez, the introvert Boricua, the 18th Leather, Radical Latino, um, Golden Goddess, multiracial movement. Also have disagreements with my ops. Okay, uh, but from on my side, I kept it respectful. Okay, and the fact of the matter is this: we're never going to agree 100% on everything. Okay, why? Because everyone has a different point of view. Okay, let's take a look at the people. Let's take a look at the people that's currently in the chat. Okay, we have in the chat Molalo Vanguard, Introvert Boricua, and Golden Goddess. Okay, each three of these individuals have different points of view. Okay, just because they have different points of view does not mean that I'm not going to show proper respect for what they believe. I may disagree with them, but I do respect it. Okay? Because everyone is allowed to be their own individual. I repeat, everyone is allowed to be their own individual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share. Okay, now unfortunately, since I'm using my phone um, to do the streaming, I can't share articles or images, but I can read it. I will soon get a new laptop, so I'll be able to show these images. Okay. At least with my phone, there's not so much of a lag. Okay. Um, and I would appreciate it if put a 1 in the chat if my audio is okay, and put a 2 if my audio is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read an article written by Dr. Stan Hyman of, and the name of the article, Agreeing to Disagree, A Path to Conflict Resolution. Okay, so, and of course, by all means, anybody who wishes to join the panel, they can do so. If they want to disagree with what I'm saying, hey, this is your opportunity to do so, as long as you do it respectfully. Okay. I'm sorry, let me turn on my AC because it's like an oven in here. You know, me and heat don't get along so hot. Okay. Stalemates happen. You and your partner has talked an issue to death. You made your case, they made theirs. So you say the words, all right, let's just agree to disagree. And now we have Irby that's in the chat. Good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay, well, you know what? People from the clouds can watch as well. There's 9 people watching, so if you're not done so, please hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it does help with the algorithm. Seems like a good idea. It's clearly a happier alternative to escalating the emotions and raising the level up to a heated argument. Yet when you walk away from each other, you still feel a little more bothered than your partner can't see things your way. Are you really not okay to let it go? Maybe agreeing to disagree is just more than just an agreement to do so. Okay. Agree to disagree is an English phrase used to resolve a conflict of some kind, usually between 2 people. It means that both parties have decided to accept the other person's point of view without actually agreeing with it. To protect your relationship from unresolved hurt, frustration, and resentments, agreeing to disagree is an actual communication skill, more a process of acceptance, validation, and growth than one of solution to avoiding an argument. In essence, allowing room for a standing disagreement means that you and your partner acknowledge that long-term relationship come with inevitable differences. We are trying to find those differences of opinion and beliefs, ideas that have evolved throughout the course of your relationship. Okay, this is in the confines of relationship. It does have applications to other um, other dynamics. Learning to productively take all that is in, accept it, and then willing to accommodate each other is a big deal. Okay. Oh my goodness. That's fine. You're getting ready to go to work. Well, anyway. You may have tried to manage the differences of opinion and beliefs, ideas that have evolved throughout the course of your relationship. Learning to productively take okay, I was over there. Thus, you have to agree to disagree. How do you agree to disagree, deserve time and consideration so that communication remains intact and respect remains a priority? Okay, well, I'm sorry if I'm putting you to sleep, Gigi. I mean, can't be. Okay. It is what it is. Okay. I understand that this topic may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's my channel. Okay. So, yeah. So, what does it take to do this well? Consider the following: more a witness, less reaction. It's okay. You know what? You gotta have a sense of humor at times. You just got to, okay? You can't take life seriously all the time. Okay. What is your automatic reaction to your spouse's unwillingness to agree with you? Examine your emotions. Are you feeling rejected or abandoned? Why do you feel attacked or dismissed? If you agree to disagree and subsequently resent your partner, you're doing your relationship of disservice. Often disagreement triggers feelings of disrespect, even panic for couples. The same thing could apply to friends. If your final reaction to your disagreement is an overreaction marked by extreme activity, shock, commentary, or strong offense, something else is going on. Despite your initial instinct to defend your position, it's important to remember that your partner is not your enemy. The same thing can be applied to your friend or your sibling. Sometimes being more mindful is enough to help you act less defensively. Some couples need more help to generally agree to disagree. It may be wise to take some time on your own or with the help of counseling to determine why you feel that your differences, perspective, people's different perspective somehow causes such irritation. Okay. Deep breaths and deeper understanding. Okay. Concede that it says partner, but you can use the word friend or family, sibling. It's not the same person. Allowing that you don't need to slow down your conclusions and judges regarding your partners / siblings / parent / child perspective. Listen closely. This is not just an effort to understand your partner / sibling / friend / child / parent on a cognitive or objective level. Instead, try to slow down your own criticisms or urge to debate in order to mindfully appreciate the other person's perspective. Why? Because this is your partner or friend or sibling or child or parent. The relationship comes before the discord. Allowing the other person's individual experiences and uniqueness, just as they did when you begin your friendship relationship, creates more freedom for you to respectively and vulnerably coexist. Thus, compassionately understanding each other is not dependent on always sharing the same viewpoints, biases, or concerns. Rather, understanding becomes a gift that supports and validates you both. Regardless of your differences, you recognize the legitimacy of each other's viewpoints and how you arrive at them. You can accept the idea that neither of you expects the other to fully give up firmly, how beliefs to ensure that your connection to each other. Which brings me another a very interesting point, which is you can still have harmony. The truth of the matter is simply that your personal integrity will not allow you to agree or even remain silent when confronted with the other person's opinion. That's okay. You needn't feel that conflict would damage the harmony between you. Harmony in a relationship or a household is not fully dependent on compliance. Consider instead that diplomacy and open-mindedness are avenues for amicable disagreement. Diplomacy backs away from refusals and divisions to calmly reassure dedication to the relationship and peaceful living together or working together or studying together. In addition, open-minded possibility for compromise allows you to keep communication in honest ways, revisiting the topic periodic to see what still works for both of you. Sometimes the best option is to agree to disagree. In other times, you may realize a shift has occurred and certain points are more able to be aligned. In either case, harmony is assured and no pressure exists to make the other person capitulate. The occasional conflict can be seen as a growth process and your connection is not put at risk. Okay, which brings me to the next point. What to do next? Truthfully, conflict with someone you care so much about can be tough to navigate. You want to be liked, admired, respected, and valued. When you can't agree on a topic or decision, your relationship may feel less secure. You may find knowing how to agree or disagree in your marriage, friendship, family, etc., may prove to be the real challenge. Of course, you and your spouse know that communication is key. Well, it's the key with whether it be your spouse, whether it be your child, whether it be your sibling, or whoever that you hold dear and near. However, that doesn't mean you know how to do it well when you reach an impasse. If you find that agreeing to disagree is proven to be difficult, it's wise to seek guidance. Work with someone that can show you how to come together without having to indiscriminately meld your minds to it. Counseling is a safe, productive place to lay out benefit from professionals or objective perspective. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you my perspective. Okay, now, well, true, this was in the confines of a marriage. Um, the same thing can be applied to various degrees when it comes to friendship, when it comes to co-workers, when it comes to siblings, when it comes to parents, when it comes to children, or anyone that you hold near and dear to that person. Okay? Because the reality is this: we are all going to disagree, okay, from time to time. That is not a problem. That is not an issue. Okay. What could be an issue if you're not able to learn how to be agreeable when we disagree. Okay. Let's just give me a moment. Oh, just going to go to um, another source um, called Wonderpolis. Okay. And again, the topic for tonight is, can we agree to disagree? Okay. And this was inspired by the fact that I've seen um, many people who, for whatever reason, have not been able to be agreeable when they disagree. Okay. I've seen it in my personal life. I've seen it among friends and coworkers and family members. I've seen it here in these YouTube streets. Oh boy, have I seen it in these YouTube streets, particularly in some platforms. Okay. So, what it is my attempt to illustrate how we can be agreeable when we disagree. Okay. Which for some people, unfortunately, it's becoming a lost art. So let me just read to you what's the following. Have you ever wondered what does it mean to agree to disagree? Do you always have to agree with everyone else? Can you respectfully disagree with someone? Okay. Regarding the third point, yes, it is possible to respectfully disagree with people that you hold deal with. Okay. Reality is this: you can get 10 people together. You're going to get 10 different perspectives. Okay. And each one of those perspectives is correct as the other person sees it. Okay. And this is something that we all need to bear in mind. Okay. Our perspectives will be different. Okay. Okay. So let me tell you. Agreeing to disagree means coming to an understanding with someone you disagree with. When you agree to disagree, you accept that neither of you is going to change the other's mind. That's when you stop arguing and move on. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to have a guest. Before we do that, I want to let everybody know that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host of the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people might hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now, good evening, Ramon.
Good evening, Don Jose. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I mean, I know that I have to be brief because I'm kind of under the weather still. So just talking, I have to make more effort than the usual. But I did wanted to comment a little bit on the subject that you touched on, that you're touching on tonight, which is good. And I thought that you had already done that. I thought that you had already touched on this subject because we come across many instances in which people don't have these disagreements, but one thing is to just disagree, but another thing is that when people start taking it kind of personal, and then the arguing start, and the drama start, and the finger pointing, and it gets all dramatic, and people want to cuss each other out, and I thought that this was a subject that we had already touched on. What's going on, Nervy? Uh, but aside from that, yeah, this is definitely something that we could work on. Some of us, there are many people that don't take disagreement very well, and that's just part of being kind of like more adulting. If people are gonna be in these spaces, in these platforms, they need to understand that um, they cannot expect everybody to agree with them. If everybody agrees with everybody, it will just be boring, and it will be a sign that people don't think their own thoughts. I mean, it's kind of like with certain with a certain group that sometimes I have make comments on that I say it all the time. The members of that group, they don't do their own thinking because they are always just repeating what their leader says. Um, and it's that kind of thing. You were just saying that if you were to ask the opinion of about 10 people, you might get 10 different opinions back. You and I know that's especially true when it comes to people like nutritionists, because if you if you ask 10 nutritionists what is healthy to eat, you're gonna get 10 different answers, or maybe 20. But the thing is that that would be like a perfect example of that, how people can be very disagreeable. I mean, and you can't please everybody. You can only just try and get information, try to educate yourself, and try your best to present the most balanced, the most informed point of view that you can come up with it. And if other people are gonna disagree, let them disagree. You have to be comfortable. We have to be comfortable in what we say. We cannot let the opinions of others kind of rattle or make us insecure as to what our points of view are. And that's something that I'm having an idea. I'm having an idea to a series of short streams in which I'm gonna be saying, I'm gonna come up with information. I'm gonna come up with a point of view on something, and I'll make a short stream. And I'll say, I stand by what I said. So that's the idea that I'm having. Kind of like I make it as serious. And if I stand on something, I'm gonna stand on that something. The way I stand now, I'm gonna stand on that uh, a month from now, a year from now, 20 years from now. So
Hmm.
that's that I'm having an idea about, and also uh, careful with the with the disagreements. Unfortunately, there are instances in which people can as we have seen recently. There is a strip that I may redo it when it comes to my last stream because it was gonna be a short subject also, um, but it went quickly into something else. I mean, I allowed it. It's on me, but I may have to redo it and actually focus on that particular subject. But it had to do with what you are talking about when it comes to disagreements and how somebody can take it the wrong way if somebody disagrees with them or tries to correct them because maybe they got something wrong, something factually wrong. But if you correct them out of love, out of wanting them to do better, they might have a problem with it. They might have a
Yeah.
problem with you and they try to see you as some kind of enemy. And I did talk about it on my last stream, but I may have to redo it because I wasn't really done with the subject before
Mhm.
it went into the other subject that ended up being a long one. So that's coming up. That's coming up. I have first to heal a little more. I'm gonna be feeling better, and then I'm gonna take some time to do it. But yeah, this is very important. Everybody should be able to chime in on this one subject because it affects us all. All of us that have platforms, all of us that have channels, that we try to kind of like share ideas, compare notes with everybody. That's kind of how I see it. That's kind of how I see this. They're kind of trying to compare notes. I mean, this is how I see it. How do you see it? This same thing, and we can do that in an amicable, civilized manner. I mean, we're not in high school anymore. I mean, we need to leave junior high back in junior high, um, and and that's and that would be basically how I'm doing it. I'll be quiet now.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm just reading this interesting point that GJ made. Everyone also needs to remember that everyone doesn't take disrespect the same way, that you never know how to reaction when you disrespect people. Um, Look, good evening, Don Armando. Now, let me just make this perfectly clear. Okay, I'm going to give you a good example between the two of us. You are a Puerto Rican born and raised from the mainland. I mean, from the island itself.
Hmm.
I'm part of the Latino diaspora. Okay. So we have different perspectives when it comes to Puerto Rico. Okay. And we have disagreed. However, we have both been agreeable when we disagree, not only with you and me, but also with our friend Denise Gonzalez. Okay.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, virtually everyone that appeared on this panel, there have been disagreements.
No,
And I was saying, yeah, go ahead.
no, and that's something that I'm going to reiterate about specifically when it comes to us because there are islanders and there are diasporans, and there are people that insist on saying that the islanders don't like the diasporans, and we're aware that there are going to be differences. But I am for one of the types that just want us to look into what do we still have in common and embrace the diaspora because I know that you guys, because you have been removed, because you have been out of the island for the last few generations, then the connection with the island erodes over time. It's
Yeah,
understandable. But I think it's kind of like coming back around because nobody today has to be ashamed of being Puerto Rican anymore or has to hide it. It's understandable why in those earlier generations, they kind of have to hide it and not let other people know. They have to change their names and things like that. I don't think that's necessary today. I think, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I think that when it comes to Puerto Ricanidad, as we call it, that's something that should be in full display now. Nobody can say anything about it, and because other people that are of European descent, they can use their names from their respective countries, and they can take pride in that, and nobody criticizes that. And I know because we are brown, then we are supposed to forget about it when we come to the United States. And I say, hell no, we don't have to forget a damn thing.
Yeah.
So, and we're living in a time that I think it's a good thing. It's a good time when it comes to be able to reconnect with what is being Puerto Rican for the diasporans. I think there is no better time than now because there is these younger generations, newer generations that are having more of a conscience, are being more conscious about their heritage, and that can display it more proudly. And as you see, there was a disagreement that I had with a diasporan on a post. That's something that I do touch on it on my last live stream, but I'm gonna touch on it again. I'm not gonna put anybody on blast. I'm not gonna say names. Not gonna say. I'm not gonna show pictures. But it was a diaspora that didn't know the name of the Puerto Rican national anthem. Eh? And the thing is that if she had been somebody who was very young that was just not told what that was, it would be understandable. But this was an older woman. This was an older woman who claims all of this pride in being Puerto Rican, but didn't know the name of Labor in Kenya. She didn't know that. And
Interesting.
and the thing is, because it was on a video on Instagram in which this diasporan who goes back and forth to the island was asking people random at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and he was asking, "Hey, what is the name of the Puerto Rican national anthem?" Some people knew it, but there were some people that actually didn't know, and these were people that were older that should have known. And made an innocent comment saying, kind of as a joke, say, "Oh, I think she was about to say that the name of the national anthem was Preciosa." In reference to the song that Mark Anthony sings, that's called Preciosa, that is a song dedicated to Puerto Rico. That many people might think that that's the anthem. It's not the anthem. That's a dedication, a love letter to the island. But let me see. Big Pun, 100% is the Rican. Well, that's a Rican thing. That's a New Yorican thing, apparently. Yeah, but I
Well,
remember Big Pun. Hmm.
well, this year I went to the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and
And,
I actually
uh-huh.
and I actually spoke to a couple people regarding the fact that it was once a crime to have the Puerto Rican flag, and that you could have gone to jail for 10 years.
Yeah,
People,
because even.
people. I
Uh-huh.
mean, people. They did not have a clue, and these were people that they were not young, but they were like in their 40s. I mean,
There were
that.
people that didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know that because on the island, the same thing, the same penalty apply because for the decades that the island was under military dictatorship. I mean, the First Amendment rights did not apply. Yes, we were citizens, but we were second class. We're still second class citizens because we can't vote for president since the island is a territory that is not a state, so we can't vote for president. That's one thing,
Yeah.
and until 1948, um, the island was under military dictatorship. It was just shortly after that. That's when the use of the flag was allowed, and the so-called Commonwealth that was never real was established, and that's when the use of the flag was allowed. It was a few years after that's when the Puerto Rican Day Parade started, and I understand that they're bringing it back to. to New Jersey because they used to have a Puerto Rican Day Parade, I think, in New Jersey. And I understand that they're bringing it back after a period of like 25 years that they didn't have it, which is a good thing. It was gonna be, it was gonna be like last weekend, something like that. It was on a certain play on a certain part of New Jersey, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I keep
Um,
hearing. The Armando, the Ricans in NYC don't even speak Spanish. Well, they were not taught at home. That's something that has to be taught at home because you can't expect the school system to do it for you. That's a cultural thing, so that has to be taught at home. I mean,
okay.
there are people that I know that come out of New York that speak Spanish very well. For example, our friend Morena Reyes, but she's Cuban and Dominican. But she comes out of New York, and her Spanish is actually very good. I have heard her Spanish is actually very very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you take a look at my family, okay, um, if you get past my siblings and you get to my nephews and my nieces, I mean, they do not know Spanish. They don't speak Spanish at all, and they know very little about the culture. Okay. Now, granted, my Spanish is kind of like a gringo version of Spanish, but at least I speak it.
Hmm.
But let's get back to the topic, because look, the fact of the matter is, when you agree to disagree, you're not surrendering your point of view. What you're doing is you're showing respect with the other person's point of view, even if you don't agree. Like, for example, we have both made disagreements regarding the weather of New York in the winter time. Okay. Like, I truly believe that we have not experienced a typical winter in years. You do not hold that belief.
Stop. Yeah, I definitely have to disagree with you because you've had winter. It's because you missed it. But you
Well,
have winter. You have winter up there. You have winter and snow. But I don't want to get into the whole thing about the weather. But you know what you can do, Jose? Though what you can do is come down and hang out with me now. Now in the almost in August. We're almost in August. Where temperatures are averaging 108 degrees. Nice
well,
and
I
warm.
well, you know what? You should come and visit. You should come with me and go to Albany in the wintertime when the temperature reaches zero at night. Okay. If you do that, then I'll come to Texas.
Uh, no, no. Well, I will be. As I told you before, I will be in New York soon, but not. I'm not going. I'm not going during the winter. Hell no.
Well, it's a funny thing. Now, at my job, the air conditioning is working okay. But for some reason, a lot of people complaining that it's so cold. And it's like, where? I mean, I have a short sleeve shirt on. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I know. I know.
No, getting back on the topic, okay? Um, when you agree to disagree, you also acknowledge the fact that there are other points of view which are just as valid, even if you don't share them or agree with them. What's your thoughts?
No, I do agree that because if we are thinking people, if we're people that do our own thinking, of course there are going to be disagreements. That is to be expected. How do we handle it? How do we handle it? Is what divide can is what sorts out who are the adults or who are the children that would throw a tantrum because somebody doesn't agree with them. Is how you handle it, how you handle a disagreement. That's what disagreements are supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen because if we are again if we are thinking people, if we are doing if we are people that do our own thinking, if we are raised to do our own thinking on things and have our own observations on things and have our own point of view on things, then the disagreements are going to happen. That's obligatory. How do you handle disagreement? That's what sorts out who are the adults and who are still children, at least mentally. Because there are
Yes.
many people that age wise, they may be adults age wise, but mentally, they're still children. They're still children and they demand complete agreement on anything that they say or they think. And that's not how the world works. That's not
No.
how it is. Mhm.
And unfortunately, we're dealing with people that are so insecure that they cannot accept if other people have a different points of view. Okay. That they expect people to blindly follow them like sheep. Uh, the reality is this: I'm not sheep. You're not sheep. None of the people that's in the chat are sheeps. Are sheep. Okay. So we're not going to go and follow the leader blindly. Okay. That's what you call a cult. We're going to have our points of view. At times, we're going to disagree. But for the most part, we have been able to be agreeable when we disagree.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh, yeah. And and unfortunately, in these YouTube streets, we have seen people who have not mastered the gift of being agreeable when they disagree, as far as people yelling at each other, cursing each other out, saying all sorts of nasty things,
Mhm.
threatening, and what have you, and on and on and on. And on some platforms, you're not allowed to express an opposing point of view. That's
Mhm.
not the case in our platforms.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
about platforms, when are you going to be doing another stream?
It's gonna be soon. I have to feel a little bit better because I have been I have been taking some medication. I have been with these sinus symptoms, and I've had to do medical appointments and all. So I'm feeling better, but I have to heal a little more before I feel more 100% like I can do a live stream. But I'm hoping to do that soon. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it before my trip, but it may be in the next few days. So yeah.
Okay. Good evening, Rakeem. Thank you very much for stopping by. The link has been pinned if you want to hop on and express your point of view.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should be able to see it at the top of the chat.
Yeah, that's something that I have learned to do. I think it was either Morena or Moonchase that taught me how to do that.
Hmm.
Okay. So what I do now for every stream, I just pin the link on top. So that way people can join. I don't have to keep adding the link every 5 minutes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
One
changing
one
the.
of these days I'll learn that. I'll learn to
Oh,
do that. Hmm.
okay. Now, what I've been doing lately is I've been doing rebroadcasts of previous streams. So I'm doing a rebroadcast tomorrow night, which I interview you.
Ah. Well, I hope that interview has aged well. Hopefully. Hmm.
Well, that's us. Well, the fact of the matter is, I did share a little secret regarding my past.
Yes.
Okay, how I
Hmm.
lost my virginity.
Oh.
But you know, I think I'm the only person I've known that lost my virginity in a church trip.
You freak. You're a freak. I can understand why. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I had lost my virginity in a church, I will be like whatever I did in the church. I can do it anywhere. I will be one. I don't know if that will do that kind of trauma that I will become so reckless. I'll be wanting to do it everywhere else because I can say, well, I've done it in a church. Let's do it.
Okay, actually, correction. It was a church trip, not a church.
Mm, mm, okay.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, Rakim.
Hey, good evening, fellas. Shout out to my boy Ramon. Shout out to you, Jose, my YouTube dad. How you guys been?
We're doing fine. Right now, I have the air conditioning on, and it's currently 70 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's been pretty. It's
70 degrees. You don't need air conditioner with 70 degrees. That's not hot. I mean, hey, Rakim, I was telling him, I was telling Jose that he needs to come down here right now. The average temperature here in Dallas is about 108. So he needs to come
yeah,
down. He needs to come down here and hang out with me and enjoy
yeah.
this warm weather.
And my
Absolutely.
reply was, and my reply is, you should come to me and visit Albany in the wintertime when the temperature reaches below zero.
It
If
will
he
kill me.
does that, then I'll go to Texas in the summertime.
No, it will kill me. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna
Nah,
take that chance.
Ramon came. Ramon went from the islands to Texas. Man, he's not coming up there to New York.
Not in the winter. Hell no.
Ramon-
I mean, come on. We haven't had a decent winter in New York in years.
I would like to come to Chicago too, but I can't do
oh
it
man,
during the winter because I have heard about those winds.
yeah, you got room. And we got free room and board when you come here, Ramon. It's you'll definitely enjoy it. I remember I used to live off the coast. I used to live off the lake over in South Shore, on the south side, and I remember I used to joke with my ex because she used to have hypothermia, and like when we'd be going back to my building,
Hmm.
like you can hear like it'd be like
Yeah.
and
Oh
you can
man.
hear like and the windshield was something crazy. She was like, hurry up and open the door, open the door. I'm like, oh look, I just dropped my keys. Oh my god, she'll punch me.
So, Rakim, are you saying that the winters in Chicago is slightly chilly?
Yes, it's very cold, but it's kind of like uh it's weird because we got really cold winters, but the summers are real hot and muggy too. So it's like you can't win. I say the best time in Chicago that I like is the spring and the fall because it's kind of like cool. It's kind of like a mixture of warm and cool. It's not really cold or humid. So
Mhm.
it's pretty nice.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
Rakim, what do you think about the topic? Can we agree to disagree?
I definitely agree with the topic. I've been involved in a few heated discussions within the past month or
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and I'm not a toxic person. I don't like toxicity. Um, I'm passionate about certain things because it's certain things that I know that I have personal experience on, and personal experience with my family and my heritage and different things like that. So certain things I can't be a little passionate about it, or like because like when it comes to misinformation, it kind of like touch me. It kind of like
Mhm.
rubs me the wrong way a little bit. But other than that, yes, I will definitely say that even with myself, I have to learn to agree to disagree. Um, and just like I'm gonna not really involve myself in a lot of these conversations because after a while it gets tiring and redundant. And I'm not a hateful person, and I don't like to be, I don't like to engage in like I want to engage with in conversations with people that have the range for certain
Mhm.
about talking certain things. Other than that, it's not really it's not really productive to have those conversations. So I agree to disagree with a lot of like with certain people, you know, like when it came to the last time when I had that outburst and everything on your channel, I wanted to let bygones be bygones with that situation and start over fresh and you know just
Yeah.
leave that alone because I don't get on YouTube to go back and forth with people, and I believe my boy Ramon is the same way. And certain conversations with race and different things like that, I kind of just want to leave that alone for a while.
Mhm.
Like my boy Ramon, he touch on it every once in a while. For the most part, he just does topics on what's going on, like as far as um what's going on, with everything right now, whether it's government corruption or
Yeah.
the situation with gender politics and different things like
Oh,
that.
yes.
It's kind of
I
like
hate
where
that
I
shit.
want to leave it at. And speaking of that, Ramon, I need to get your opinion.
Uh,
Are you gonna do it? You should do a stream on the whole Just Hilarious thing. What you think about them going back and forth um, with the Transformers?
oh, yes, I'm hearing that name. I'm hearing that name, and that there are people that are attacking her before because of that. That should be something because that to me doesn't have to do with race. So that should be a subject that I could kind of like look at it and be able to speak about it from my point of view, which is usually non-racial. And okay, I understand that Jessie Larios is a black woman, and she has something to say about the Transformers and all. And and when I get the context, when get the whole context as to what she said, then we can talk about it definitely because
Yeah.
I don't think that doesn't really have to do with race like that. So
No, no, it's not. I'm kind of letting like even when I like to like, but even when I've seen your style on touching on things, including race and different situations, the same way I feel. I don't
mhm.
feel like I have to ever put anybody down. I can come from a very logical perspective on a lot of things, and I definitely understand. Uh, I understand certain things from my perspective when it comes to different groups and certain things like that. So I definitely will. But with the situation with
Yeah, I have to look. I have to look into it too because I'm hearing that name. I'm hearing that name and what she said, but I don't have the whole context. And I don't
yeah,
have the whole story
but
on that. So I want to be able to get that info in,
mhm.
so I can talk about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there are certain things that
But
as
hit,
much as
hit,
we don't like it, one have to call one's own when it comes to things. Like for example, really quick, like the
mhm.
whole thing with what's happening with Jocelyn Hernandez, and because the mistake that she made is that she started embodying black female stereotypes, and that's
Yeah, yeah,
getting her in mad trouble, and she might have to go to jail. And she didn't become that big of a rap artist to begin
mhm.
with. I mean, she was
No,
she did have that show. That show on that network that was
that
kind of like
that
something.
show didn't make that much money. That show didn't make that much money.
Yeah, well, it was a kind of like an independent production of what she was doing, and she was participating on this college thing that involved Amber Rose, and that's why they ended up fighting, which was totally unnecessary. I mean, and she,
Mhm.
and I might have some opinions on that, but why did she have to act out stereotypes? Because
Yeah.
when that fight happened, that there were black women that started going on and I'm talking about, well, you ain't black, you shouldn't have to
Well, it's
get into
people.
that.
It's people that flip flop these days because
Yeah,
there was a lot of Black American women that rooted for Jocelyn on Love and Hip Hop, especially when she was beating on Stevie J like left and right.
yeah.
So um the thing like with Jocelyn, because now you got certain people that follow Tariq Nasheed, so people have short memories. But
Hmm.
here's the thing. Jocelyn had always called herself, for the most part, from what I know, she's always called herself Afro Boricua. She came from the island when she was very young, and she started running in the streets of Florida with the wrong people, and she had been a problem child ever since. I actually saw that episode of Love and Hip Hop when they introduced her parents, and she had become a problem on the island. I'm not sure. I think she was a young girl when she left the island, but that's
Yeah.
when she moved to Florida, and she picked up the same thing she was doing on the island. She ended up doing in Florida, because when people have issues, they just attract a certain type of people. Um,
Yeah.
that they was dealing with. So if you was dealing with thugs on the island, you're gonna be dealing with thugs in Florida. If you move to Detroit, you're gonna be dealing with thugs in Detroit, or people or
Yeah,
different people.
it's just that unfortunately, because she started out, her life in the project. She described that on the island she was at a project that is close to the beach. I have an idea of which one is she talking about.
Mm,
Not La Perla. La Perla is the little slum that I have mentioned to you that is close to Old San Juan.
yeah.
That's not where she's from. I think that she is from the large um she's from the big housing project that is kind of next to the Ocean Park area,
Mm,
and that's what I think she's from, because that's also within walking distance of the beach. So
hmm.
that's what I think that she's from. But yeah, the thing is, being from the housing projects in Puerto Rico, that's not a guarantee that you're gonna be problematic, because I had a
Right.
girlfriend who was from the projects, and she was a sweet girl. My mom loved her,
Hmm.
and so yeah, but she was running with the wrong crowd, and she was kind of she's just being a fuck up. I mean, she's being
Yeah.
a huge
Yeah.
fuck up, unfortunately.
And then
And
she's at that age where she needs to know how to keep her emotions intact, because me
she's
and
pushing
Jocelyn.
40 years old. She's getting too old to be getting into fights like a teenager. Because
Mhm.
what she's doing is what I used to see back in high school,
Mhm.
when girls would fight each other, and they will tussle around, slap, and throw each other towards the floor. That's what I used to see happening back when I was in high school. And
And
she's
you can
pushing
tell she got
40.
some very deep seated anger,
Yeah.
because like
And that's
when a
not being
person,
treated. She's not
yes,
talking
that
to
hasn't been treated, because when a
no.
person is, I give Amber Rose her credit for swinging off her, but that was a bad mistake, because Jocelyn is bigger than her, and Jocelyn obviously has more strength. And
No,
if
no,
you put
it's
that,
not so much that. What happened later at the Mayweather exhibition fight,
oh
when
yeah,
she was tussling with the cops, like, what the fuck
yeah,
are you doing? And
right,
she's getting herself into trouble because she fought with that other chick. Then she tried to fight a man, tried to fight the cops,
right.
tussling with it, out of control as fuck, man.
Mm,
Excuse me, but you
Oh,
know
but
what?
uh,
But you know what the problem is? You can be 50 years old, you could be 60 years old. Unfortunately, there's some people who never grow up for whatever reason, okay?
mhm,
And many sometimes they don't even know why. I mean, the fact of the matter is you can be a 60-year-old like myself, but you may not have the maturity that goes along with your age. I mean, unfortunately, have seen that in these YouTube streets and all these multiple platforms where people have acted foolishly and people reacted badly to what other people have said. In fact, and once the one time that I mentioned a YouTube creator known as Rashid talking about that I did not care about her platform,
mhm,
she kind of took it personal. I mean, I wasn't trying to be mean. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I was
yeah.
just expressing a point of view. Okay. And I'm sure that when it comes to my platform, there are people who don't like it because it's either too boring, it's too talkative, it's too bland, or it could be because the people I hang with.
Mhm.
yeah, well, you got to remember one thing, Jose, because I've been on pretty much YouTube now is an interactive Facebook. It's literally
Mhm.
become the streets. Like, So it's certain places that you can like. I done been to panels where I thought I was gonna have a conversation with people, and people didn't really want to have a conversation. They wanted to control the narrative, and if I said something that they disagreed with, I got kicked off. One particular hotel panel, I can't think of the dude name. I think his name is Q Butter. I got kicked off. I was speaking about certain things in our
What?
community.
Did you say something against Cynthia G or something?
Yeah, I actually got into it with Cynthia G on that channel. She
Oh,
was
really?
there. Yep. I told me she was going to bring the B out of me, and I told her the only B on this channel was you. And we went back and forth, and Q Butter was having her side, and then I got jumped by the women that was on the panel, and nobody was letting me talk.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine all of them calling you Dusty and
yeah,
beta
yeah,
male.
I called
The
all
usual, yeah, the usual Cynthia G expressions.
and I told him, I was like, dude, how could you stand by her when she's talking about abort? I'm sorry, delete young black boys. How can you stand by that? And he started giving me the runaround with his answer. And then I was like, it's easy that you can sit. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to teach a child that's 7, 8 years old certain things, but what do you got an answer for a kid that's 15, 16 out here?
Mhm.
You don't.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting kicked off. So, but it's all good. And I went to other channels, challenging people. Like I say, certain things I've heard based off of clips that I've seen of Tariq that I agree with, but a lot of stuff that I don't. And I've gotten called a coon and kicked off of other panels for
Mhm.
completely disagreeing with that. And I'm the furthest thing from a coon ever.
Yeah. No,
Well,
I used to agree with the guy. I used to because he used to be in a different lane. I mean, the whole
Yeah,
thing about dating and relationships.
it's a
He was.
hustle. It's a hustle.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
hustle. And when you look back, because I've seen a few videos, like because you the one that had to put me on him, Ramon, because I never knew who he was.
Yeah.
I only knew about Hidden Colors, and I had heard the name. And people were
Hmm.
like, "Oh, Tariq Nasheed did." I never was able to put a face to the name. I just
Yeah.
knew about Hidden Colors documentaries, and that's it.
Yeah.
well, the last time I was on the Ant show, I was removed from the panel. Okay. Now, I didn't say anything offensive to anybody. Okay.
Hmm.
All I said was the following, because Magic was on the panel, and she's talking about how we had a beef. All I said was I respectfully request that we do not bring it up on this platform because this was not the forum to discuss it. So
Hmm.
what she did was she decided to discuss her side of the situation. So therefore, I decided to indicate my side, which is the actual truth. And by simply stating that, I was removed from the panel.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's certain people. It's I'm just starting to realize that it's just certain people. They just want to believe what they believe and have their talking points, and they don't really want their talking points to be challenged. And if you are, a little bit more knowledgeable on certain things with people, that kind of grinds their gears. Um, I see. Shout out to you, Golden. Shout out to you, Gigi. For instance, I've had conversations with Gigi prior where we talk about the golden sphere, and I had no problems with the golden sphere or anything like that. Like I said, I understand that everyone calls themselves, that's how they identify as biracial. um no problem with that at all. It's just that I was just so used to, like, everybody's experience is different, and when I
Hmm.
was growing up, I got biracial cousins in my family. We all just looked at them as black. We'd never put them down, anything like that. I didn't really start hitting discrepancies. What's up, Irby? And I didn't start hearing the discrepancies between camps until I got online. But I saw people get pushed into creating the golden sphere. It's particularly from a lot of these women. I saw it. I saw it. I saw the nastiness and you know people not being able to think for themselves, following Chrissy, the colorism queen, and Paris Milan, and all of these different people. And they literally, and then they would sit here because people like to gaslight. They'd sit here and lie and say, "Oh, we don't have anything against it." Yes, you do. You do. You try to hide it, but I can sense it. I can tell. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I was there. I saw it from the beginning on why people created the golden sphere. All I know is my experience with, light skin with light skinned black men and everything like that when I was growing up. We never had any beef, anything like that. Now I would see dark skinned black men and light skinned black men joke back and forth with each other. But I knew it was incidents where, okay, based off of stereotypes, dark skinned black dudes thinking uh light skinned black men is soft, but the light skinned dudes that I came up around in my neighborhood was the furthest thing from it. And all it took was them to um fracture a couple jaws and you know win a few fights to people like, all right, man, don't mess with him. And that's usually how it goes. If people sense when you're growing up in those type of environment, if people sense that you scared, they're going and they may be scary and may be a punk themselves, but if they sense that you scared, then they're gonna try to intimidate you until you realize, you're not the one to be intimidated. And then they realize, then you get your respect and they just go about their business. So
Well, in all fairness, when you talk, I mean, there are certain groups of people that they are trying to create a community, where they feel comfortable, where they're able to express themselves and live as they see fit, whether you be the Golden Spear, whether it be the MGMs, whether it be the Creoles, whether it be the Exoticals or the Mulattoes or every other group. They all have one thing in common. They want to be respected for who they are.
yeah, I definitely understand that. And like, for instance, like I told my boy Ramon, like I came up, I've been around Boricua since I was a child, man. And like I said, my grandma went back and forth to the island. Her business was in Humble Park. So I had and I never looked at anybody in a negative light or with any type of hatred, anything. Because my experience can be different from somebody living in Florida or somebody. Because I know in up here in the Midwest, it's a different story, And like I said, I got people in my family that's Boricua. That's my family. That's my family. If he called me right now and it's a problem, I'm riding out with my family. You get what I'm saying? So like like a lot of things, people, a lot of people have disingenuous arguments or certain things that they try to leave out in a lot of these conversations.
Right.
You
Okay.
Well, me and Gigi, when Gigi said the last time, is up here about certain people within on that other side of the fence, on that other spectrum, that claim to be biracial and everything. You can tell when it comes to anti-blackness, you can tell if somebody's anti-black or not. You can tell. They try to hide it. They'll try to make it seem like they're not, but you can tell, and you can sense it very quickly. And even just by people's arguments, you can tell. And when people have regurgitated arguments, that's not their own either. And from a few of those people, I can sense it definitely. When Blue Gelato came into the play, I can tell that this dude really had a disdain for black men. Some are better at hiding it than others, but I can tell. I was like, man, where's this dude coming from? I was like, who is he? And then he was just angry, man. He was an angry man.
Mhm.
He was very angry. And then I had to think because I'm like, Cleveland got some rough areas. So I'm
Mm.
thinking if he was young, and when you got trauma too as a child, that's like that hasn't been taken care of, that can fester into adulthood. And we all have our traumas and different things like that, but you can tell if it's certain things that haven't been addressed. And I'm like, I don't know if he got beat up or something like that out there in Cleveland. I'm like, because I was in the same boat as him. Like when I was a kid, I was picked on by kids that was bigger than me. I got beat up by one kid, but it was people in my family that told me, and this was young, 8 years old, eight. And they told me, no, you're not going to run from anybody. You're not going to run from anybody because you're not going to be a coward. Because if you run in this house, you're going to be running forever. So you're going to go out there and you're going to fight, and whatever that outcome is going to be, that's what it's going to be. Now I remind you, when I went out there and fought, I got my ass whooped because because the boy was bigger than me. But after that, I was like, win, lose, or draw, I'm gonna be fighting. And also, I was the oldest, so I knew if I ran, who was my younger brothers and sisters gonna get if they had a problem. So, but I think he ran, never came back out, and he just harbored that animosity into adulthood.
See, that's the reason why whenever you have trauma or you have hurtful experiences of one type or another, it's very important to try to get some sort of resolution or counseling or whatever. Because if you have um, issues as a child that does not get addressed by the time you become an adult, unfortunately, you're going to react and think out of those experiences. And we have seen that, on these two streets. I'm not going to mention any names, but we have seen, different types of individuals which would appear to have some sort of childhood trauma which were never dealt with. But that's something to discuss for another discussion. So, but before I just want to share I did another stream on Sunday regarding our friend Ebony K. Williams.
I don't know. I don't know. You kind of have a crush on her or something because you like to talk about.
But
you bring her up a lot.
I hate to say this, Ramon. Man, I really do, because you know I am. But I'm gonna keep it real. Ebony K. Williams is pretty. Just like I think.
Oh, nobody's disagreeing. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. But
no, I just I know you agree. It's just that her attitude makes her kind of ugly. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. The thing is that many women will think that we don't think like that. Many women will think that we men are so fixed on the physical because we're physical beings that we don't take into account the woman's personality and what is in her mentality. They think that all of us are gonna be simps for a bitch. And there are some that do that. There are some guys because they don't have any self-value that they will simp for a bitch. But
excuse me, guys, I gotta address this. I would never make my shot with Ebony K. Williams.
Okay, lying.
Okay, first of all, I'm not her type. I'm not her type because I'm not her type because I don't have a 6-figure income, and I'm not the right complexion. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. Okay, but she was talking about how she wanted to become a single mom, and she's close to 40. I mean, and she's encouraging women to become single moms. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my opinion, she's not being responsible because hey, it's easy for her to say that because she's a woman of wealth, she's a woman of resources. I mean, she spent a great deal of time and money going to these sperm banks to try to get some black sperm in order to become pregnant and what have you. And of course, she can afford, nannies and childcare and things of that nature. Okay,
Hmm.
but the fact of the matter is, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. How many women out there has the resources that Ebony K. Williams have? Single women. Really. I mean,
But the thing is that when it comes to resources, her having money, do you really think that that matters? Because a lot of these women that have a lot of money, they get with men that they're attracted to that don't have the means that they have. We see it all the time. I mean, it's not just her. Also, somebody like the Kiki Palmer girl, or somebody like Zoe Saldana, who's a movie star, and she's with somebody. She's with somebody that I think that she has to provide for. I mean, I think he's like an Italian dude and all of that. The guy took her name, Zoe Saldana's. The guy took her name. Who do you
You're
think is running things?
lying.
Who do you think
just
runs the
kidding.
relationship, Jose? I mean,
This
there are
whole
women.
time, I thought I thought he was upward. He was upwardly mobile, and she was following behind him.
No, no. She's the movie star, and she's okay with an European guy, and the European guy took her last name. Who do you think is in control there? Who do you think runs things in that relationship? Not him. So
Mhm.
you have to come correct when you are with an Hispanic or Latina. You have to come correct when it comes to your masculinity. I mean, because she's gonna run all over you. And
Mhm.
Well,
he's the one who has to wear the skirt in the relationship. I mean, she's the one wearing the pants.
well, remember that I did a stream earlier this year regarding the myths regarding Latinas,
Mhm.
because somehow people think the Latinas are extremely submissive.
Whoever says that don't know what they're talking about. They just don't know what they're talking about. The thing is that they're not the type of woman that you have to be scared of. I mean, you have to come correct with them, and they will actually appreciate masculinity. They will actually appreciate manhood. You keep it fairly respectful, and you build a rapport with a Latina, and you can pretty much be yourself. I mean, yeah, you can be a man. You can express yourself the way a man can, because that's what they like. That's what they're looking for. I mean, it's not like the women here in the United States that expect you to be their bitch, and they expect you to be a doormat that they can walk all over to. I mean, with the Latinas, you can't let them walk all over you. You have to establish from the beginning. Look, this is who I am. I love the ladies. I have courtesy towards the ladies, but I don't kiss ass. It's what I tell Morena all the time. But
Right.
Mhm.
and if you are macho to a degree, you actually have to be macho, but not because macho is not a bad thing. Being macho amongst us Latinos with the woman, being macho is not a bad thing, as long as you keep it under control. I mean, it's healthy masculinity, because what it will be called toxic here in the United States, but in Latin America, having a healthy amount of masculinity is something that women do respect. So,
Yeah.
Well, the perfect example would be what you're saying about like even people that don't understand the way people have been socially conditioned here in the states is not how the rest of the world operates. Speaking on the truck driver from Houston who is currently in custody in Dubai for yelling
oh,
back
yeah,
at back at a man, and I'm pretty sure that's a scary situation. There's nothing worse than when you have an epiphany that everything that I've learned, this is not how it works in certain areas. But by the
no,
time you get that epiphany, it's too late. So you're just
no,
thinking,
but let me tell you, I don't know if you know this, but she has a pattern of behavior
I've heard
that there is a certain pattern with her, because it's not just the incident in Dubai.
on
Most
the
likely,
islands
she
too.
got in.
You did it, PR.
Uh, the most likely somebody said something that she didn't like and started raising her voice, and you can't be doing that over there in Dubai. I mean, there is something. Apparently, she got put in jail maybe for screaming, raising her voice, being out of line. But there is something called disturbing the peace over here, and that I
Mm.
think people can get arrested for. And that might be what she was doing. She was started to yell, started to cuss, disturbing the peace, and got arrested for it. And there were a couple of other incidents. One of them was actually in Puerto Rico, where she was with her friends, and she got I don't know if she got a little bit drunk or so, but she started cussing, she started fighting, she threw a drink at a man in the group, and the guy's wife didn't stand up for him. She allowed that to happen because apparently she was afraid because the guy had to take that abuse and couldn't slap her like at least on the ass so that she will act correct or maybe hit her with a belt. I mean that's what it will come to mind. If I was in that situation, I might grab a belt and hit her with it because
Yeah,
she doesn't seem to be somebody who has ever been properly disciplined, and that's the problem with the whole soft parenting bullshit that goes on. That has been done with the younger generations. Some of the people in my generation, the Xers, some of them are culpable for this because I remember when I was younger there will be girls that I will be talking about and they will say, well, when I have kids I will never discipline them, I will never hit them, I will never do that, and I'm sure that that's exactly what they didn't do any kind of discipline to discipline their kids, and they let them do whatever the fuck they wanted, and now we are seeing the results of that. Some people in my generation are to blame for it, and that's the soft parenting. And with this girl, apparently she was used to doing whatever the hell she wanted, and and there was another incident with her in the Virgin Islands when she got into another fight and to into another dispute. The thing is that there is already a pattern of behavior that has been established, and it culminated with what happened in Dubai. And she's been most likely she's not in jail. There is from what we understand, because the Pink Book Lessons did a video on that, and apparently she may be detained, but the authorities didn't say anything about her being in jail. Maybe she's confined to, I don't know, maybe a house or a hotel room or whatever. But there are some things that have to be sorted out before she's given back her passport, because she was involved in kind of like an accident, and if she wanted her items and the rental place had her passport, and she needed to pay some kind of a fee to get her stuff back, and apparently that's when the arguing started, and it got out of control, and she ended up getting detained. The thing is that I
Okay.
don't, hopefully she's not in jail per se, but she's just not allowed to leave Dubai until certain things are are taken care of. Yeah.
yeah. Hey, Jose, because this is
Yeah.
similar to how I know a lot of people how a lot of people in black households grew up back in the day. Can you play the video I sent in the private chat?
Okay. You know what? Let me see. Okay. Let's see
Oh,
how I'm gonna.
you won't get flagged anything like that. You just
Okay. No. No. It's
oh,
not.
you
It's
don't know
not.
how to share it.
Okay.
Okay, you don't know how to share.
If you give me permission, I could play it if you are having too much of a problem.
No. What it is? You know what it is? I'm streaming with my phone, not with a computer. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
Okay, and do you know if you could give me permission still, and I could play it?
okay. How would I do that?
That's the thing. I don't know. From a phone, I don't know how it will be.
Oh, don't
Let me.
worry about it then. Definitely don't worry about it. I was looking at. I'm just seeing Golden's comment. Yeah, Chrissy won't debate you, Golden. She's not going to debate because she knows it's a lot of holes in her argument, and she's just going off. She's using these women for emotion. That's one of the reasons why I could not stand. She was very sneaky. She was very sneaky. She would insinuate a lot of things, purposely mislead a lot of these young women that follow her, and then a lot of her videos she would either delete or put them on private.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, so let me see if I can see.
Yeah, because at least if you can give me
Okay,
permission.
would it be add to the stream?
Well, yes, yes, because I did try to share. Maybe if you can hit add to the stream, maybe you can
Okay,
see the
let's
screen.
okay, let's try this.
It says something black parents for no reason at
Yeah,
all. Can you see that?
Okay,
yeah.
how the heck I'm going? Okay, now how I don't.
You
Okay,
just play it.
okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Is but
Rakim, tell me if you see it. If you see
Yeah, I
the
see it. I'm looking at it. Yep.
okay, but I can hit play and try to see if we can get the audio because I don't
okay,
know.
go ahead.
Let me know if you get the audio. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I got the audio.
What you looking for? What? Don't keep saying what. Just know I'm here. Alright. What you looking at?
Uh,
Just
that,
come in your room looking for problems.
that's mean.
Yeah, that's
Oh
how it
my
went.
God.
What? 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 Don't keep saying what. Just know I'm here.
All right.
Oh, that, that
But
that dude, that dude's videos are hilarious. All of his black parent videos are hilarious.
but
All right.
but you know something, we're gonna stop to wrap this up. Are you guys able to stay for a little bit for the backstage, or I know Ramon, you've been under the weather.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess I could stay for a couple of minutes if there was
okay,
something that you wanted to share with us. I'll stay for a bit.
okay. So now we're gonna take closing remarks. So we're gonna start with the lover of cold, who thinks Orchard Beach is the most beautiful beach in the world.
Hell
Who
no.
wants to who wants to go to Times Square to watch the ball drop in shorts and chancletas? Who wants to run around naked in Albany in the wintertime? Who wants to lie down on the ground in the wintertime and make snow angels with the snow? Who thinks Parkchester is the most beautiful place on planet Earth? Who wants to be a
I
part
was
of
gonna
the
think that
cold
Jose
and
never been.
the golden spear, the introvert Boricua.
Chocha Beach. Yeah, no, no, no. I have heard. I have heard many things about so-called Orchard Beach, if it can be called a beach to begin with. I remember seeing on Instagram somebody edited a video of people, some people that were in what apparently looked like New York, like they were on a bridge in New York, supposedly going to a beach. I don't know if they were going to uh, uh, Coney Island or Orchard Beach, and they edited the clip with imagery of specifically crash boat on the island, talking about that was in New York. Like, well, get the fuck out of here, because they go from images of New York to this very blue water that you could see all the way down to the bottom, and you're telling me that that's in New York? Fuck out of here. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. But no, but don't say what once again, I appreciate you having me on your panel, and this was a good discussion, a good subject. Thanks for letting me on it, and I'll look forward to the next one. That's basically all I got. Not much else.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna put you now. Let's see. Now, if I put remove you from the string, would that put you in the backstage?
It should.
Okay, so I'll put you in the backstage. Okay, now we're gonna give final remarks from my son from another mother, the 18th letter.
Hey, shout out to you, Jose. My final remarks is, yes, I believe we can all agree to disagree. We're all grown. We're all adults. You know, my views don't necessarily have to reflect the next person, and his or her views don't have to reflect mine. And if we can't come to, a mutual understanding, then we can just agree to disagree. That's part of conflict resolution. So I mean, conflict resolution. So I definitely agree with that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for stopping by and sharing your viewpoint. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the backstage. Now, I'm going to give you my final remarks. This topic needed to be discussed because the reality is this: not everyone is blessed with the skill to be agreeable when they disagree. We've seen it not just in social media, but in our everyday lives. So hopefully, what you will got out of it is how you can develop the ability to be agreeable when you disagree. All it means is while you hold on to your beliefs and your perceptions, that you respect the beliefs and perceptions of others. And that's what we try to do here on this platform. Now, I want to let everybody know that tomorrow is going to be a rebroadcast, which I think it's going to be on 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be showing my interview with the Interbarriqua. And the next stream will be on conflict resolution. And just to let everybody know, next week I will be celebrating 2 years of the YouTube creator. So I will try to get my best content possible. So a huge shout out to everyone that's on the chat and a huge shout out to everyone that's on the panel. So when everything is said and done, let's learn to be good to each other, especially now we're considering all the stuff that we've gone through with the last 3 years. So that being said, I really appreciate your time and energy devoted to either catch the stream live or catch it on the playback. So this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Wishing all of you a pleasant night. Take care and peace.
Be strong.